Welcome to the Parker Daniels Show, where amazing stories are shared and hope is given.
Welcome, y'all. Today's subject on bisexual and blind, the Angela Pulson story. I would like to say thanks for tuning to the Parker Daniels Show, and please, by all means, hit the like button and also subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't done already. Now, if this topic offends you, and I hope it doesn't, I do understand, but I urge you all to stay tuned because you might learn something. I did. So, I will be showing you excerpts from the interview that I did with Angela, and she's going to try to address the two, being bisexual and a blind female. So I'm not going to hold y'all any longer. I'm going to jump right into the interview and bring you the introduction. Check it out. Parker Daniels Show, where we make changes, no excuses. I have a real interesting story for y'all today, and I'm not going to waste any time. First of all, I want to say to my subscribers, thanks for subscribing. Continue to hit that notification bell or subscribe. Once you do, hit the notification bell. Please share. Please follow. Please tell a friend to build this thing up so we can make this a channel for each and every one. Again, welcome to the Parker Daniels Show. My name is Anthony Parker, your host for this evening. And today we have a young lady by the name of Angela who's going to give us a story that I think is of interest, and she's going to share it with me and you. So without further ado, Angela, won't you come to the forefront, which you already are, and let everybody know what you're going to be talking about today. You have the floor. This is your story.
Hi, thank you. My name is Angela, and the title of my story, I actually have a written story to go along with it. It's called Blind and Bisexual, My Real Life Experience. So I'm going to talk about what it's like to be blind, what it's like to be in the LGBT community and also blind.
Okay, well, you got the story. It's your 15 minutes. Let's roll.
Okay, so I first discovered that I liked women when I was 21 years old. I had been straight, for most of my life, and, went through the whole, boy crazy phase. When I was 21 years old, it was interesting how I discovered that I'm bisexual. Well, I didn't discover it back then, but I had a dream that I met a woman. I don't know her in real life. But her name is Sarah, and she, in the dream, was really wealthy. Her parents owned a hotel, and they made lots of money. And she was hot. I mean, I had the biggest crush on her ever. I really thought that she was hot. And so I remember we were at my house. I was living with my mom and stepfather and sister at the time. And I was getting some food because I was hungry. And Sarah shouted, "Let's kiss!" Really loud. And I'm trying to say, no, quiet, don't say anything. But my sister had overheard, and next thing you know, we went to my room to kiss, and it looked like something destroyed it because my sister didn't want us kissing, so she threw everything around in my room, and I woke up. And by the way, I'm sorry if I kind of drift out of focus with the camera. I don't have my Mac anymore. If I had my Mac, it'd be way easier doing this, but
That's
I don't.
Okay.
But when I woke up, I was extremely intrigued. I thought that it was a really interesting dream. This happened in February of 2009. And when I woke up, I was really intrigued. I thought, wow, this is amazing. This is wonderful. I wonder if this means anything. I told my mother that night. She laughed at me. She's like, "That doesn't mean anything. It's just a dream." But she wasn't making fun of me. She just kind of laughed and said it was a dream. But I had a feeling it was way more than that. So I went on a journey to discover who I am. Technically speaking, I am bisexual, leaning more towards lesbianism, but I wouldn't consider myself lesbian because I'm still attracted to men as much as sometimes I don't want to be because I've been hurt by so many of them. I wish I could just be lesbian and call it done.
Now, she did touch on her sexuality, a little bit about it, how she realized, how she became, or whatever the case may be. But I wanted to have her go more into detail about when she realized her attraction for females, or when she realized her becoming bisexual. And here's what she had to say. What age did you find out that you had the attraction for same sex or females?
I was 21 when I realized that I was attracted to the same sex. I was 28 when I realized that I was bisexual. Even though I tried converting a few times, I just knew that I was bisexual. And yeah, but it was 28 when I knew for sure, and 21 when I realized that I liked females.
Okay. Now that was cool. As we move along, I wanted to ask Angela about, her actually being blind and bisexual. And here's what she had to say. Now, do you think people have problems dealing with you as a blind person, or as someone who is a lesbian or is bisexual? You follow what I'm saying?
I think it's easier for them to deal with the blind aspect than it is to deal with me being bisexual. Because blind, there's actually quite a bit of people that are blind. And there's people that are blind and bisexual as well. It just puts you in more of a minority, being in the LGBT community and being blind. But I think that as long as you're strong and you push through it, sometimes it gets depressing, and sometimes it gets like I feel pressured, and there have been times I tried to force myself not to be who I am because I wanted to be accepted, but I realized, since I moved out on my own last year, hey, I can be my own person now, and that's
true.
All that matters.
Do you think it's harder as a blind person because you are dealing with being blind to get people to not really accept it, because a lot of people, they're not going to do it, just continue to do what you have to do. But do you think it's harder for people to really, I guess we'll use accept, for lack of better words, to accept you as both being blind and being bisexual?
Right now, no. Maybe in the past it was. And in the past it was because I was trying to decide where I was on the spectrum. I wasn't sure. That part was the harder part. But now that I know exactly where I fall on the spectrum, it's not really that hard anymore. I mean, yeah, there's haters, but most of the people I deal with are really accepting and supportive. And I'm really fortunate for that.
Okay. Now, again, we're speaking with Angela, and she's telling us her story in terms of her coming out as bisexual, right?
Bisexual.
Okay,
bisexual leaning towards lesbianism. How's that?
Okay, well, you continue. You're leaning towards lesbianism. Excuse me, late at night. What is going to really make you just basically convert over to lesbianism as opposed to just being bisexual for a long period of time? Is there anything that you have to do, or what's going to convert you? Or
nothing is. I'm bisexual. I've tried to convert to straight up true blue lesbianism, and it never works. So the reason I say leaning more towards it is because I prefer women over guys. I always have, but I don't think I could ever force myself to not be attracted to guys. Some people say sexuality is a choice. It's actually not a choice. It's ingrained within. So yeah, I'm attracted to both, whether I like it or not, and I'm just gonna have to accept it. As long as I find the guys don't hurt me, that's the most important.
Now, in this clip, I like the answer that she gave about how she really felt about being blind and a bisexual individual. And here's what she had to say in this video clip.
I feel proud to be blind and bisexual. I feel proud to be both because it makes me unique. It's two facts about me that describe who I am, and it makes me feel unique. So I'm proud of it. Maybe when I was younger it was a little harder, but I'm actually proud. I'm proud of who I am. I embrace who I am. I accept who I am. I have a girlfriend. I love her. I'm in love with her. And I will show her off to the whole entire world because she means that much. And I really don't care what people say anymore about that.
And 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 sort of echoing what you said, I'm glad that you said that you're proud about who you are, which is how you should be, because first of all, it's hard to be a blind person altogether, because people still have that stereotype, about blind people. And then secondly, to be one who is bisexual or uh, you know uh, a lesbian or whatever the case may be, you're dealing with that, and that takes a lot of strength. And I applaud you for being the best, Angela. I wanted to ask Angela, because in the earlier clip she mentioned that she was hurt, and I want to ask her how does she feel about the people who say that because she was hurt by men, she became bisexual. This is what she had to say. Okay. So as I continue to tap on this particular subject, one who is looking at this video may say, "Well, I'm heterosexual. I've been hurt by a lot of men or a lot of women. Well, let's say a lot of men, and I want to change my lifestyle." I mean, people may say that because by your statement that you've been hurt about a lot of men, so therefore you are now bisexual. If you were born that way, then it wouldn't. If you're born heterosexual, then no matter how many men you've been hurt by, you will continue to be heterosexual. Because now, and I'm not saying that you are being trendy. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the younger people that feel that this would be the thing to do. So please tell them, let them know that this is something. I'm not gonna put words in my mouth, but let them know that that's not the case, and how you actually became bisexual, or how you became wanting to be with females.
Okay, how I became bisexual?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, by you saying that, and that you were hurt by a lot of men, and you now are bisexual. In the past, I've heard people say that, well, I'm gonna try being men with females, because men are quote unquote dogs. That in that terms makes me believe that you weren't you that's something that you want to try, as opposed to if you were born heterosexual, you're born a lesbian, that could not convert you to either side. You follow me?
Well, if you're born heterosexual, then you are heterosexual. You can yes, you're going to be hurt by men, but like my friend said, she's been hurt by a lot of men, but she would never go out with a woman ever.
But we want your situation. You again for those who just joining us.
Well, what made me bisexual wasn't the fact I've been hurt by men. I just happened to be attracted to them the same way that I'm attracted to women.
There you go. That's what I'm trying to get to come out and say, because people might think that, and they're like, well, okay, I've been hurt by 7-8 men. Okay. So expound on that right quick. Expound on that.
I am attracted to men. I've heard men, and I thought, wow, this man is really nice. This man is really hot. I want to spend time with him. I want to get to know him. And yes, I may be taking a risk by getting hurt by him, but at the same time, I could be taking a risk if I getting with a woman, getting hurt by her. Chrissy has hurt me in the past. She has said things in the past that were hurtful, just like I've been hurt by men. But you know what? Sometimes with love, that's what happens. How did my friend Robert put it? With love, there's always a chance of betrayal.
That's true. Now, after clearing up her understanding of her sexuality, in the midst of all that, I had asked Angela if she thought bisexualism is a choice, and here's what she had to say to that. I mean, sexuality is not a choice. Can you expound more on your belief in terms of why you feel that way? Because a lot of people want to know as well.
Because if sexuality was a choice, I would have been a lesbian by now, and I would have stayed lesbian. I would not have had feelings for guys. I would not have had fantasies for guys. If I could choose my sexuality, then everything I feel about guys would be history. It would be over, and there'd be nothing left. I would be basically immune to them. If it was a choice. And if it was in my control, believe me, I would come out as lesbian, and I would stay that way because I've been hurt so much. But at the same time, at the same time that I think about it, I'm kind of glad it's not a choice, because, women are just as capable of hurting as men are. Women are just as capable of treating people badly, and I've had a couple of ex-girlfriends who were not very nice. So I can't just shun one party just because, I've had bad experiences with it.
And I'm glad you touched on that, because one might say, well, she had bad experience with men, and you converted to lesbianism or bisexuality. Is that something that causes people to actually, to change? Because somebody, who's listening or looking at it may say, well, I've been hurt by a lot of men. I don't want to be. I'm a heterosexual, but I don't want to be heterosexual anymore. I'll change my lifestyle. So what do you say to people?
What do I say to people like that?
Yes.
I'd say it's not a choice. I would say you can't really change it. I actually know a heterosexual person who has been hurt by a lot of men, but she didn't become lesbian overnight. And she's not gonna be. She does not like girls in that way. And she's gonna stick with guys. It's just a matter that sometimes you have to, there's a saying, you have to kiss many frogs until you find your prince. And same thing for the women. You have to kiss many frogs until you find your princess.
I had asked her in this clip that as a blind person, as far as her not being able to see her girlfriend, what was the attraction? And this is what she had to say here. As far as being a bisexual and attracted to females, what is it that, and as a blind person, what is it that attracts you to, let's say, now we'll speak in terms of your girlfriend?
What is it that attracts me to Chrissy, or to females in general?
No, your girlfriend, Chrissy.
Just her personality. I felt like I was safe with her. I felt like I could tell her anything.
Okay. In this clip here, I had asked Angela if people treat her differently as a blind person, or as far as she being bisexual, and she had this to say.
Not so much for the blindness part. The bisexual part. I've had people tell me, oh, it's just a phase, you'll get over it. And then, like I said, that one guy calling me arrogant the other day because I was showing Chrissy off, which I don't. And by the way, Chrissy, if you listen to this video, I love thee. So just thought I'd let you know that.
All right. Now, I had asked Angela in this clip if things would be any different for her if she were not blind. Any advice that she can give any persons who are struggling with their sexuality, and just how things have been, as a blind person. This is what she had to say in this clip.
I would say to any blind person that is going through a journey of LGBTQ of any kind, my best advice to them would be keep your chin up and keep fighting. Don't give up or don't give in. Just keep fighting for what you believe in and what's right, and you will win one day.
Now, do you think that these feelings would have occurred had you not been blind? I mean, tell me, how does being blind play a part in your decisions, or just your everyday living alternate sexual lifestyle?
I think that whether I'm blind or not, I don't think that would have changed my sexual preference. I think even if I was sighted, I probably would be bisexual. I don't think a sexual preference has to necessarily do with blindness. I think it's just a coincidence that I just so happen to be blind and bisexual. I think if I were born perfectly normal with vision and everything, I still would be bisexual to this day. My personal belief is blindness just happens to be another fact about who I am, and I just accept it and take it in stride. And
as we focus on that, the blindness side, how let's put the alternate sexual lifestyle aside for a second. How is it as a blind person, just living, your day-to-day living? How is it?
I think it's working out pretty well. I've been living in my own place for almost a year. October 12th will be 1 whole year of living on my own. And so it's been almost a year now. So I think I'm doing pretty well. I have my bills emailed to me or texted or whatever. I do everything online. I have everything adapted just right the way I need it. And I think personally it's actually worked out really well. I mean, sometimes I have, a little bit of stress or whatever, like, oh, do I have the money this month to pay this bill or that bill? But that doesn't have to do with blindness. Even sighted people have those problems, and I'm sure a lot of sighted people can relate to that.
Okay. Now, you said it's been great for you for about a year. Prior to that, how has it been? I mean, give us the goodies. How has it been as a blind person for you?
Prior to living on my own, it has, I lived with my sister just before I lived on my own, and living with her was really nice. She and her now husband took me in and helped me out when I really needed them, so, that was appreciative. It just was frustrating, not living with them at all. They didn't do anything wrong. What was frustrating is, having to live with other people, having to living with roommates, not having my own space. I mean, I know my sister was hardly ever home. She, she would work a lot, and her fiance at the time, now they're married, he lived about 2 hours north, and it was, it was hard because, they were gone a lot of the time, and I felt good to have some responsibility because I would help take care of her dog and such. But at the same time, before I lived with her, I lived with my grandma. And I just felt like I was appreciative for their help, but I really wanted some more independence, and I wanted to be on my own. And so finally, when I got this place last year, I was really, really excited.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the segment in which I had done with Angela. Hope you learned something, because I definitely did. And she definitely enlightened me in some of the things that she laid out on the table. I appreciate her coming to the show to inform us of how it is as a person who is totally blind and someone who is bisexual. So hopefully you can take this advice and use it, and things will be better moving forward in your life. Again, thanks for subscribing to the Parker Daniels Show. Hit that notification bell. Share, please, and comment on it. Let me know what you thought about this particular video, because Angela left us with this.
Okay, why you should subscribe to the Parker Daniels Show? Because it's an awesome show, and they have all kinds of different topics to help blind people out. So you should subscribe, especially if you're blind and you're struggling. You might be able to find something useful that can help you find your way.
Thank you so much. And with that being said, thanks for subscribing. And I hear her yawning in the background.
I'm not.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you all for subscribing to this show, and I'm glad that you all stayed with me and what have you. And share, follow, and tell a friend again. And with that being said, I am.
Yes, I am. Hopeful for today. Take this